of the recording, so everything that we record is going to be said. And if you don't want to show up on the video, you can simply turn your webcam off if you so desire. We are glad you're here tonight because Jay Brandis is the best person that we could possibly have here to talk about how to up your game and your skill set when it comes to how to search the library databases. A lot of us just put in terms and we don't have a strategy, and then we end up with thousands of results and spend tons and tons and dozens of hours filtering them down and really don't have a good way of doing it. So today he's going to show us how to do it, how to take advantage of these databases, how to do Boolean searches, etc. He's the guy, and he is our Troy Online librarian. So many of you may have already worked with Jay before. I had the pleasure of getting some help from him. Jay, all yours. Take it away.
Terrific. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take this nice and slow so that I can save time. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to share my screen, this screen. I'm going to click on my PowerPoint. I'm going to show my PowerPoint. I'm going to swap screens. And am I correct that you can see my PowerPoint slide?
Yes, we can see it beautifully. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Do you want to turn your webcam back on so we can see you as well, or your call? Or is bandwidth better not?
I'm just going to play it bandwidth safe.
Sounds good.
You're going to get these slides later, so I'm not going to talk about everything that you see on a slide. So sometimes you might be like, hey, what was that? You'll have to look later. Occasionally there might be a joke or an additional example of something that we don't need to cover right now, but it's going to be on the slides. This isn't technically how to use a database, but in the broader sense, it is. Ask for help. Don't flounder around for a long time and then get frustrated. If you can't figure out where to look or how to do something, you can get us by phone, by text, by email, by live chat, or in person if you're near one of the campuses. But did you know? I guess this is a database tip. In addition to the chat box being on the library homepage and most of the library pages, there's also a chat box built into the EBSCO brand and ProQuest brand databases. So you don't even need to leave a lot of the databases to get us on chat. I added a lot of pictures today. So I know we're doing PowerPoint, but I want you to see what it really looks like on the website. So here's a picture of the library homepage. There's a chat box on almost every library page. There's our text number there. Our email is there. So if you're at the library and you don't know where to go, what to do, just grab that live chat box. Chat runs the same hours as the Troy campus library, which are pretty generous hours. And when we're not there, a form will show up and you can simply put that in the hopper. And then when we come in the morning, we will check on it. If Wile E. Coyote has money to buy all those Acme products, why doesn't he just buy food instead of chasing the Roadrunner? Okay, some of you are probably too young to get that joke, but that didn't stop me from doing it. Step one, make sure you're in the right database. Sometimes people will be like, okay, I'm exaggerating. I can't find anything on this management technique. And I'll ask them what database they're in. And they're in some kind of like literature or music database. Well, you have to be in the right place in order to get to the information that you need. So while the library homepage does offer you to just pick a database by name, you'd have to know the name of the one that you wanted to go to. But if you go into the databases by subject and alphabetically, you can pick a topic, and instead of 150 databases, it might just present you with 5 or 10, and you can look at the description and maybe pick a good one that way. Or, of course, just ask for help if you need to know which database or databases to look at. Here's what I was talking about, the big picture. This is, again, the library homepage. If you know which database you want, you can just use that drop-down menu that's right there. Or you can click Databases by Subject and alphabetically, and pick it out alphabetically. But if you don't know which one you need, you can go in there and look by subject, and you will find out which one or which ones can help you. Okay, I'm going to slow down even more to make sure I do this clearly. With library databases, don't bother to capitalize. Databases don't care. They're not case sensitive. To a database, caps, not caps, it doesn't matter. And sometimes people are so used to typing properly with capital letters they can't help themselves. That's fine. But if it saves you time or brain energy, don't bother to capitalize in the library databases. Now I want to contrast that with search engines that search the internet, like Google. Those are case sensitive. And this is a true story. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was shopping for some glassware, and the thing said it was 74 milliliters. Well, that didn't have much meaning to me. So I wanted to find out how many ounces that was. I went to Google and I put in 74 ml ounces because I knew it would do a conversion for me. And it started converting cubic miles for me. Yes, that's right. I have 74 cubic miles of milk. I'd like to know how many ounces that was. And it surprised me because I have used the converter before. So I took a guess that it might be happier with ML in capital letters, and it sure was. So databases don't care about capitalization. So in the work I do, I generally don't bother to capitalize, but I don't want to make you think that's universal. As long as we're talking about databases versus search engines, occasionally students will ask, hey, I don't know which search engine to use. Now, I know what they mean. They mean which database to use, but those are really two different things. So in your mind, try and understand that the databases, I've got a picture of some of them on the right, are the things that the library subscribes to. They've got electronic books, they've got journal articles, they've got videos, but these are subscription services that school pays for. Whereas a search engine like Google or Bing or Yahoo is searching the internet. When I grabbed some of these images earlier today, I love the fact that I was asking for, what do raccoons like to eat? And the Yahoo search engine, one of its suggestions for me, the last one was, Google, what do raccoons like to eat? Oh, so if I ask Yahoo, you're like, you should probably ask Google. It's better at finding things than I am. Okay, Boolean operators. These are connecting terms. The Boolean operators are three words. They are and, or, and not. You can use them to connect the terms you're searching for together, to explain to a computer what you're looking for. You can either just type it out in a database, Treehouse and foster care, or you can see that the database actually supplies little connector drop downs. So you can make the database search Treehouse and foster care, or you could turn the and into an or you could turn the and into a not. I think I have some examples. Oh, they're coming up, not the next slide. Think about synonyms, words that mean the same or very similar to the thing you have in mind. Now, I don't think you're really looking for pancakes for your schoolwork. These were just things I thought of. Pancakes or hotcakes or griddle cakes or the humorous word flapjacks. So think about these words. Now, a while back when I was doing a similar teaching, I said, oh, how about Yeti or Sasquatch or Abominable Snowman or Bigfoot? These are all the same kind of thing. Well, it turned out they aren't the same kind of thing. I mean, they're similar, but they're not really the same thing. But you never know when someone's writing about something, if they're going to use an exact term, they might be using something similar. Whatever terms you're using, if you have a bunch of them that you need to or together, that you need to connect together, you can use the parentheses to nest them together. I have an example there. dog or canine, and nutrition or diet. So you're using the parentheses to explain in what order the computer should think about these things. And when you tell the database a couple of words, it's not by default looking for them right in that order and right together. So sometimes you'll put in 2 words and the results will look funny. Yeah, and then you'll see, oh, it's finding this word isolated here and this other part of the word over here. That's not what I'm looking for. I really mean this. So if you mean this, put the words in quotation mark. Washington Monument National Park. Here's where I have some examples. And I want to show you some, these are real life things. So from the ProQuest system, we get a bunch of databases. So here I'm using the database itself to do the connection. I told it I want COVID or coronavirus because I don't know what term the article might have. I'm telling it connect that together with and, smell or odor or nose or olfactory. So I want to look up things about people losing their sense of smell with COVID. I've got another example from Gale. Gale's another brand of database. And I'm showing you that not only can I and these terms together, Shakespeare and witches and Macbeth, it lets me tell it where to look for it. So I'm telling it Macbeth in the name of the work. I'm telling it there's some kind of written work, a play, that I'm looking for, and I want Macbeth to be in the title of the work. I don't just want Macbeth to show up somewhere in some other discussion. And without asking her permission, I am using Dr. Waldner as an example. Here I am in the EBSCO brand of databases, and I'm looking for her by name. And I said the database doesn't care about capitalization, so I haven't capitalized her name. And it really doesn't care about order, Waldner, Leora, or Leora, Waldner. I just happen to have done it that way. And I can tell it in what field I want to look. So I want to see her as the author. Now, if I had Shakespeare, I might look up him as the subject. Depending on which database you're in, you might have more or less of these fields that you can search. Expand your search. If, especially when I'm talking to graduate students and faculty, a lot of the databases by default are limiting to items that are full text only in the database, particularly if you use the homepage search box. We call that the discovery search box. By default, you're probably not even getting half of the information out there. But when you just need 5 articles on some easy to grab subject, yeah, that's okay. But when you're doing something more in depth or you're not finding what you're looking for, take off the full text delimiter, because anything that's not full text online, you can request by interlibrary loan, or we call that ILL. Interlibrary loan for books takes a little longer because we have to physically get the book, or we might have it and we mail it to you. But for articles, usually only a couple of days. Officially, we say a week to 10 days. I've never had one take that long. How much does ILL cost? Usually there's no fee for getting an article or a book, but with physical materials like a book or a DVD, you will have the cost to mail that back to us. I learned a term a few years ago, the bread box. I like it, so I like saying it. After you do a search in many of the databases, the bread box will appear on the left side. One of the important limiters is for peer-reviewed articles. A lot of times when an instructor gives you an assignment, they want peer-reviewed, or what they call refereed articles, things that are scholarly, things that have gone through a review process before being published. And so that checkbox can help you to get rid of the fluff or the non-scholarly materials along the way. Okay, here's a picture of, this is the discovery search. So I did a search and you can see the bread box on the left. It's showing you the limiters that are put on there. Oh, this is a good reminder for me. It's saying apply related words, apply equivalent subjects. Yeah, when you put in a term, you don't have to worry about plurals. You don't have to look for owl or owls. The database is automatically doing that. So things like that, it gives you a helping hand with. But you can see here, there's date limiters. A lot of times instructors will say, I need something from the last 5 years, or I need something from the last 10 years. You can make the database do the work. You can tell it what types of information. Hey, I just want things from newspapers. I just want books. I just want other types of things. So that's the discovery search on the library homepage, but a lot of the databases, individual databases, will have that same type of thing. Here's a good tool for thinking up what term am I supposed to look for? Or maybe you're totally drawing a blank on, hey, my teacher told me to do a report on anything, and I can't think of anything. Go into pick the database that applies to your subject, and up at the top, many of them will have some kind of subject heading or a thesaurus you can look at. Now, you can search on the word car, but the database might prefer the word automobile. So if you use the thesaurus, it'll tell you its preferred language. Virtually all of the EBSCO brand databases and all of the ProQuest brand databases have some kind of subject tool, but the ERIC database for education and the CINAHL one for nursing have specialized ones. Leora's probably going to tell me I'm running long. I am. I'm going to speed it up. Okay, PsycInfo, it's got a real fancy thesaurus. All right, I looked at the questions that people wanted to know before they came here. They wanted to know about documentation, about citation. Yes, most of the databases have some kind of citation tool built in. You can use them, but be careful. They're not going to do a perfect job, so you're going to need to do a little cleanup. What do they look like? In the ProQuest brand, it's up and to the right. In the EBSCO brand, it's on the right-hand side. How do they signal Batman during the day or when it isn't cloudy out? All right, I showed that to my friend Alex, and he said, that's what the bat phone is for. Oh, look, I'm on the second to last slide. A powerful tool that you can use is a paper and pencil or your word processor. Write down where you went. I went to this database. What terms did you use? What happened? Because then you can come back to it when you discover new words to search on, and then you can plug those back in. And finally, don't be afraid to guess. Just start with one word, see what you get, and slowly build your search from there. Don't start right at the end result. Find out how big the universe is, and then go from there. Hooray! I know I went over a little. Okay, I'm going to put my camera back on. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to ask y'all if you have questions. You can type them into the typing box, and Leora will tell them to me, or I will see them, or you can unmute and you can just ask me questions.
This is James in Dothan. I have a quick question. So if I'm working with literature, and sometimes I'll type in symbolism in Shakespeare, and it searches, and it doesn't pull up the hits I want unless the title of the article says symbolism and Shakespeare as well. So what am I doing wrong?
It's not so much a matter of wrong as there's different ways that different databases work. So typically when a database is searching for something, it's looking in the title, the author, subject headings that have been applied to that article, and the abstract. But if you want to, depending on the database, you can tell it to look in the entire document. So sometimes you've got something where it's not going to be in the title of the article, but it might be somewhere in the body of it, so you can expand
right.
it.
That's
that
what
way.
I'm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell it look further. I mean, you can, if you've got some real esoteric thing, look in every word of every article that you've got in there.
And it'll do that?
Virtually all the databases will let you choose to, by default, it's not looking in every word, because then you get 20 million returns and you'd say, this doesn't have anything to do with my thing, but that is an option to open it up to search even further.
Okay.
Jay, it's usually like the all text option when you go in the database, right? Like instead of subject or author, it would go to all
somewhere
text.
there's going to be, there's going to be either a checkbox or a drop down that says search everything.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll do that if I want to find out, has someone cited the thing? I've got an article and I found the article fine, but I want to know who else is citing my article. So I'll tell it, look in everywhere in the article, because many times it'll look in the references, and that's actually what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks.
From the students here, are there any things you've had difficulties in terms of the searching? Any frustrations or challenges you've had that you want to ask about?
I can pretend I'm a student. Yes, I found an article and I bookmarked it. Actually, I'm doing a master's certificate. I found an article that I liked and I bookmarked the article, and then when I came back, it wouldn't let me get to that. Yeah, don't do that. If you find an article that you like, save it right away. And as I said on my penultimate slide, mark down where you went. Where did you get this thing so that you can find your way back? Depending on the database, you could bookmark it or it'll give you some kind of permanent link. I'm not going to go into that technology right now, but that is something that happens. Oh, I can be a student again. Hey, I signed in, but it's asking me to sign in again. Both the ProQuest and the EBSCO brands of databases, you can make yourself an account that's not a Troy account, it's an EBSCO account or ProQuest account, and it lets you throw things in folders and save them for later. Yeah, sometimes people they'll go into Discovery and they'll put 5 things in the folder and they come back later and they disappear. Yeah, it because you haven't logged in and they don't warn you that you need to be logged in with your own account. So Dr. Waldner asked, what do I have problems with, or what goes funny? Okay, those are 2 of the things that do frequently come up.
Got it. Any questions? Right. And Jay, if students or faculty want help with their searches or getting started on a research project, what is a good way to get help, and how do they get in touch with folks?
I think you are leading me on. Go to the library homepage, look for the staff directory, and then find your subject specialist. So, for example, we have a librarian for the College of Education who does education and counseling and psychology. We have another person for the Sorrell College of Business who does businessy things. So depending on, and they're listed there with their contact information and the subjects that they cover. Or if you don't know, or you don't know where to look, just shoot the library an email or hop on chat and say, who can help me with this particular subject? I'm doing looking for things on Shakespeare.
Exactly. And as a faculty person that does research frequently, even I don't start my searches without contacting the librarians. I'll say, hey, I'm going to start this thing on new cities in, minority communities. What search terms should I use? And if I can find one article that is really good, that will help them find the right search terms and get me going. So I think a really good search term is ask the librarians for help, because they will get you started.
That reminds me, a tip that I didn't do is, just find one article on your topic, then push to look at the record in the database, because it'll show you what subject headings it's listed under. Not only can you see those subject headings, if you click on them, it'll just perform a search on those subject headings for you.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming. And Jay, thank you so much for telling us the search terms. We have a very, very short feedback survey. It's only 4 questions. We'd like to know what else you'd like to learn and what we can do to continually improve this series. I've posted it in the chat box. And Jay, we very, very much appreciate for everything that you do for this university and the skills that you teach us. And thank you all for attending tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.